Hello, and welcome to another episode of Time of Day, the Transatlantic Wargame episode, brought to you by Breakthrough Assault. I'm Lee Parnell, recording from somewhere in the South England, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mike, over in sunny LA. Hello,
Good
Mike.
morning, Lee.
Is it sunny in LA?
No, we've entered our 3-week period of winter, therefore it is slightly cloudy.
I enjoy the fact we
And
have like a 2-week period of summer and you have like a 3-week period of winter, and that's
and I
like
am in a hoodie.
you are indeed in the hoodie. Bizarrely, I'm in the t-shirt. That's because my house is very modern and well insulated, but it's made of polystyrene, bizarrely. There you go. Seriously. Yeah, so we obviously we haven't got a book to review this one, so hopefully the run time will be less than 2 hours.
We did not invite Lexi. We're not setting new records for length.
I mean, I don't mind at all. We get really good ratings off those episodes, so that's fine. People clearly want to hear what we say about new books, but unfortunately, there are no new books at the moment. We are in the old doldrums of winter until we get new books in spring. We'll have Pete come on, do his little video where he tells us what brand new things are coming. So I think I'm doing an eyes and ears with Richard a lot. We're gonna do like a reaction video to that when it comes out.
How dare you?
I
Here
know
I am thinking of new and interesting ways to drive content so we can destroy Eyes and Ears to be the true YouTube show on Breakthrough Assault's YouTube channel, and you're betraying me, Lee. I'm going to replace you with Mike Everest.
I mean, you're saying that like that probably wouldn't improve ratings, but you would then have to do the editing because I've seen micro technology. It's never pretty.
Oh God.
Mike has what we call the Luddite zone. Any kind of technology near him just seems to break down.
Anything post 1944 is just magic, and Mike doesn't understand. That's right. Oh no, I forgot my place in this power dynamic. Oh God.
But yeah, so obviously about a book, we're going to be doing something a bit interesting tonight. We're going to be ranking, Mike. What we're ranking?
So inspired by an offhand joke I made in the NATO Forces book, today we are going to be ranking. Oh no,
It's all gone wrong.
it's all gone wrong. Here we go. Today we are ranking stupid cars in Team Yankee. Obviously, because last episode I gave the VBL my official stamp of approval for stupid car in Team Yankee, stealing its position from the G-Wagon of the Nordic Forces book. But then I thought about it and I said, there's so many of them. Obviously, we must determine what are really good and what are really bad. I stole that pun from Lee. Don't hate me.
I know. I just impressed you actually remembered it. So
It's one of the It's one of the tiers.
yeah, we were trying to work out how the tier should work. We couldn't literally have British starter set; it wouldn't work in the context.
Yes, the traditional tiers unfortunately do not work, but just to make things a little set a few ground rules, because if we just said all wheeled vehicles in Team Yankee, we'd be here for 3 hours. There's too many. So we're only looking at recce and anti-tank wheeled vehicles, or a light tank if you want to. We'll get into that one later.
I do feel like basically this was 90% in the list, and we've really skipped there's a few SAM systems and an artillery piece. So
Yes,
I'm not entirely sure it's got the list
air
down.
defense systems and the artillery pieces. Like they're places you're meant to drive somewhere and leave. They're not really out there doing stupid car things. So
I mean, they shouldn't be on the tabletop at all in this kind of game. But we'll skip over what Lee's rant about artillery systems being in Team Yankee and long range SAM systems, that kind of thing.
right. So just to go over our tiers, we have up at the very top, spam if you don't need friends. These are really good. You can take them in droves because their formations are strong in their support.
This is in no way inspired by the fact Eddie's new tournament list he's working on for January.
To be fair, I named this tier before I had listened to episode 99 of the podcast, where Eddie lays out his villainous master plan. Then we have wheelie good, followed by stupid parentheses good. These are stupid in a good way, and I love them. Followed by Stupid Bad, where Battlefront has clearly made a mistake in how they've designed this thing. And then at the bottom tier, we have Haas F1 because the season is over and I must cope somehow.
And there's nothing funnier on four wheels than Haas F1, except for Ferrari's strategy in any given Grand Prix.
Oh no, stop.
I
Sainz was robbed on multiple occasions. Ferrari should be P2.
Yeah. I enjoyed Leclerc also being told, "Can I do donuts?" No, you can't. And going, "I can't even do donuts." It's just like they're just determined. Ferrari just determined to extract every bit of joy out of Leclerc.
Charles Leclerc. Please stop trying to destroy him. He's just a sweet Monegasque boy who just wants to race cars.
We'll put them in walls, whatever works.
Oh. All right,
This.
so let's get on with the tier list before my heart breaks to new levels that I didn't think it could break to.
Luckily, Seth, when you pause it, you can see exam moments. His heart breaks.
So starting off, we have the arguable light tank of this list, the AMX 10RC.
Start with the beefy boy of the list.
We're starting with
pully beefy boy.
One of the dangerous boys of this list.
Because to be fair, it's the only thing with a serious gun on this entire list.
Yeah, no, it's got a real 105 gun.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a firepower 19 to a firepower, brutal heat, laser rangefinder, smoke, all the toys you'd want. Unfortunately, a 2-1 rate of fire, but a 36-inch range. I mean, these are a wonderful ambush unit.
Yep.
The cross 4-up does mean you're probably throwing them away. They're not going to be able to get out of a bad situation.
But, yeah, I mean, you still have scouts, so you can get yourself in position and then unleash your shots at the best time, while minimizing return fires can be hitting you.
Right, and 4 dice of machine guns, never anything to look down on.
Yep. I mean, they're pretty solid fire support vehicle. Obviously, but like all fire support vehicles, they're not designed to take incoming fire. But brutal rate of fire 2, brutal. That's going to help dig out infantry.
Yeah, and I mean, skill 3, you could theoretically maybe pull off some shoot and scoot shenanigans or some blitzing shenanigans.
Yep.
To preserve that rate of fire 2.
Yep. You got laser rangefinder, so you have to worry about infantry being dug in concealed at long range.
Mm-hmm.
Anti-tank 19 heat means you can still threaten like era and cobham armored vehicles. It's 19 versus 16. That's it's a better rather than fishing for ones for sure.
Absolutely.
But we really shouldn't be dueling these things with tanks beyond an ambush and then scoot away at high speed.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, look at the bigger picture in the formation. It's actually a pretty solid formation too. Because
because you get a lot of the VBLs, which we'll get into.
Yep. But you got 4 platoon of these guys. You got their VBLs, which are pretty cool little things, and you got an infantry platoon. It's a pretty solid formation as well.
Pretty solid formation. They're 2 points a guy. I would put these guys just smack in at wheelie good.
Yeah, you can't spam them because the points add up really quickly out of formation. I've tried before.
Yes. It's a great way to burn 32 points trying to get as many of these in a formation as you can.
Yeah. But
otherwise,
solid. It's a solid vehicle. Okay.
All right, so moving on to the Spandrel anti-tank platoon. The BRDM with an AT-5 Spandrel missile systems just smacked right on top. Rate of fire 1, minimum range 8, up to 48. So
the system. It's a pretty typical mid-80s anti-tank missile, really. Yeah, it's a sort of equivalent to TOW system, not the TOW 2, obviously.
But AT-21 firepower 3 up, guided heat. Fun party trick of the BRDM chassis is amphibious.
Yep. They got infrared as well. In these what I found is certainly my East Germans, I really like these. You've got your skill 4, and you can start surprising people with blitzes and shooting scoots. With the Soviet ones, it's a bit tricky with a 5+. It does happen. I have seen people blitz a Soviet Spandrel into position and launch missiles off from behind a hill. It's just more of a gamble.
Yeah.
And in East Germans, certainly, possibly in the Soviet ones as well. They're also in formation for like the BMP and BTR.
They're in like half the formations. They're dirt cheap. 2 for a point, 3 for 2 points.
If you're playing
the 4-up cross chest, the 4-up cross check, there's no scout. It's missing some of the things that the fancier, NATO versions would have.
It does gore me slightly if it doesn't have like Hammerhead or something like that, considering the missile systems on the on the ceiling, so it can be held down and that kind of thing. It always felt like a little bit of a screw you to the Soviet side a little bit by not putting it on there. But despite that, with East German, if you're playing true 1980s, you haven't got all the funky stuff like BMP3s or T-72Bs. I use these quite often when I'm playing true 1980s East Germans. Like say because you generally only have BMP1s and maybe a platoon of BMP2s. They give you a handy bit of extra fire support, and the anti-tank 21 is great against Leopard 2 A4s, Chieftains, M60s, early Abrams.
And I would, if it's available, I put it in the formation. It's just, if it's in your formation, it is just the cheapest way of bulking out another platoon in your formation, 1 or 2 points.
Yeah.
So I think because of some of its flaws and how it's going to stack up against its NATO counterparts, I think, we stick it in stupid good.
Yeah. I know because the Mephisto's going to come up later and you start comparing it versus that.
Yes. But moving on to our other, we only have 2 Warsaw Pact vehicles on this list.
Because we cut out all the anti-air.
Well, we cut out this started off with me going, well, we have to include the hails. It's just a truck of missiles, and Lee goes, that adds like 15 things we need to put on the list.
Adds the Lars, it adds on the RM70, yes,
and the Dana and
the
Hurricane.
like,
okay, fine. Yeah. And then we have, if we're doing artillery, then we have to include AA, and I'm like, okay, I get it. We're stopping.
We'll save that for another episode.
We'll save that for another episode. If you guys like this one, we'll rank stupid.
We'll do SAM systems or something like that, in which case wheel vehicles will appear. But yes,
wheel vehicles will appear if we rank SAM systems and artillery systems. But moving on to the BRDM2 recon Aufklärungs, whatever you want to call it. Again, dirt cheap. 2 for a point, 4 for 2 points. Solid, 50 cal equivalent machine gun, an extra, 30 cal machine gun. Excuse me, the 14.5 millimeter machine gun and the 7.62 machine guns. Lots of decent enough firepower, enough to threaten dug-in infantry with that 5-up firepower. At least make them think about it.
Yeah, and you can mass up SAM systems and some artillery systems as well.
Yep,
like stuff like Lars, where it's like, got Spearhead, no Scout, because for some reason, again, that's just not how
they just
Battlefront
don't
do Soviets.
Soviets to have Scout for whatever reason.
So once upon a time, it used to annoy me that 2 Luchs were 1 point and 2 BRDMs were 1 point. Obviously, now the Luchs has government points. It makes the BRDM look about right for its points. Like say, they're usually in formation. They give you a very cheap Spearhead.
Yeah.
They've got, like as you say, they've got enough. The little 14.7 means they can go harass stuff afterwards. Mobility's not great. I mean, that's going to be a consistent thing with most wheel vehicles on this. I'm going to be honest. We're doing a wheel vehicle.
There's a lot of 4-up cross checks, it turns out.
Yeah. So it's like I say, it's the mobility isn't that much worse than its peers. So again, I think it's a really good.
I would agree it's really good.
Or maybe stupid good. Maybe super good. Because like I say, its firepower is okay. It's all okay. It's not anything
right. But when you put it on the grand scheme of the recon vehicles on this list, they're all machine guns of some sort. But this one packs a 50 cal, and most of them only pack 30 cal or 7.62 equivalents.
20 mils and that kind of thing. Yeah,
20 mils.
It's not too far off its peers.
And honestly, like I when I play Soviets, I tend to use my recon as like, oh, let's get a few extra, BMP 2s or maybe even 3s, depending on the time frame I'm playing on, to get, a little extra anti-tank punch with a Spearhead. And if I have points left over, that's an easy second Spearhead for, a couple points.
Yeah.
So I think
Because the problem you get is with the BMPs, they're great, but you keep wanting to use them like light tanks, and then you don't want to spearhead them fully because, oh no, I want these guys to survive afterwards and be positioned, especially the BMP3s. You want to use them as a light tank. And so
yeah,
have that
if
little
you
BRDMs, just do the proper sacrificial sort of spearhead, and then it's just really
right,
handy.
especially when I'm trying to cheekily telescope my guys around,
Yeah.
this is the ideal vehicle to throw up, where people are going to shoot them to death. So next we're gonna go look at something we talked about recently, the Cougar.
Hmm.
So this is basically a 6-wheeled LAV, but with the Scorpion turret.
Yep.
Man, I don't like this vehicle. I just don't.
It has a few flaws to it, yes.
A few.
More than a few. I mean, on the face of it, so the 76mm gun, it's got a decent punch. It's only slow firing rather than the sneak and peek of, say, the British Scorpions. So its firepower is decent. And like I say, firepower too, really handy for digging things out. Still got collapsible machine gun. Its mobility is about, on terms of its movement stats, about the same as the BRDM we just looked at. But when you start getting stuff like the Cross 5, the Cross 5 for what is meant to be a effectively a light wheel tank is a fairly detrimental thing, especially when amphibious. You can move through water as terrain. The problem is they're not going to get you far. You could constantly roll 5+ and constantly stopping, getting on banks, try and get out of
Not only
banks.
that, but like your terrain dash is the same as your tactical.
Yeah, but again, that's pretty
Uh,
typical for most wheel vehicles. But yeah,
right, but unlike the AMX 10, it's got slow firing.
yep, that's just down
So
to the British turret. Basically, they're doing it instead of
right,
sneak and peek.
right, but it's just like, yeah, you can fire this boy on the move.
Mhm.
You'll get one shot and it's gonna be a bad
Terrible.
shot. Like, and you can't do the traditional British thing of just dash into position and then stop and then shoot because, well, your dash speeds suck.
Mhm.
You got a 5-up cross. I mean, there is some nice utility in the fact that it has smoke,
Yep.
but aside from that, like, the amphibiousness on a BRDM chassis is like, you might find a situation where you want to do that if you want to be cheeky about it or something. I would never ever attempt to get Cougars amphibious, not with a 5-up.
No, just get stuck in a bank for the rest of the game.
No, you'll be
Yeah,
stuck in the middle of a lake the whole time because they're like, I can just drive through this pond, and next turn I'm gonna get that cheeky flank, or I'm gonna make them worry about that, and then you just don't roll 5s and you get stuck there, even with cross here.
yeah. I think that
So
when you start comparing it to Coyote, we'll come a bit later. As a LAV-25,
yeah,
it pales in comparison. I think this lack of mobility just makes it suffer somewhat.
yeah, I think this goes in stupid bad.
Yeah, it's not terrible,
It's not
but
terrible, but it's not good.
no.
It's stupid.
Talking of not terrible but not good,
Not terrible, but not good. We're taking a quick pit stop with the British, and we're gonna be taking a look at the Fox,
the only wheel vehicle in the entire British list, which I hadn't
the
really
only wheeled
appreciated until
vehicle in the
he's
entire British list.
yeah.
Again, cheap, 3 points for 4.
Hmm.
Scout and Spearhead with infrared. The gun is it's a 30 mil. You get 3-2 rate of fire, AT-10 firepower, 5-up. Sneak and peek is just soul crushing.
Yeah,
3 dice of machine guns with a firepower of 6. So I'm like, courage 5, skill 4.
that's his soft stats are where it
Its
hurts a little
soft stats
bit.
hurt it so badly.
Because he's basically these are basically operated by the territorial army, so basically
Right.
your weekend warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And the game kind of reflects that probably a little harshly in the stats by making them reluctant trained.
Yeah. Sneak and peek again is just an absolute killer trying to get anything done. They're cheap. There's 4 of them, so you can provide a big spearhead bubble.
Yeah,
And that's pretty much the only thing it has going for it.
Yeah, because I think the problem we have with that is for one more point, I can have 4 scimitars, and they have far better mobility, far better soft stats. I'll go for
Gun.
the same gun. Yep, same starts to sneak and peek, but
Mhm.
I can use my terrain dash to get in a much better position the turn before I fire,
With a significantly better cross,
and also
Oh,
blitz my 3+ to blitz that last little bit to get the shot in. So yeah. So if I want that 30 mil water cannon, I'm gonna go for it.
Now it's probably unfair that we compare it to a tracked vehicle because we're like, oh well, it's better train dash, better cross.
Yeah.
But when we're looking at it in the context of the British Army,
Yeah, and it's
so when
formation when you compare it to the scimitar formation. It doesn't have the striker missile system. So yes,
right,
you can get
its
lots of them.
formation
You
is
can get,
bad.
I mean, you can get loads of them in the formation, but it's loads of nah. It's not like it's a very good unit to have to
Yeah,
spam. So
you
it's
can
like,
get a little 4 stand-in Spartans with
yeah, which
toes.
you can
Like
get with the scimitar ones as well.
yeah,
Uh,
the formation is just so bad.
It's a
Um,
shame. It's a real shame. On the warrior, the same autocannon has anti-helicopter, and neither the scimitar or the fox have that as a rule, which is a shame because
yeah,
they're trained to do it. They had all the things to do it. And if they had
yeah,
anti-helicopter and spamming the fox might make a sense because it would be a nice counterpart to a leaf blower list by having all these extra one-shot 30 mils around. But
and cheap enough that you could throw a small secondary formation of them around and just have them hang out with scout.
yeah,
But because its formation is just so bad and the lack of, I think this one goes in Haas.
it goes in Haas.
I think it
Feels
goes in
appropriate.
Haas.
The stand-in for the British start sets does a British unit in.
Oh no.
Plus, a death traps in real life, so I really don't like it. I really don't like it. The best thing
Yeah,
ever happened to Fox was when they took the turret off and put it onto farm with useful jobs by put it onto 432s and make an improvised fire support vehicle, or replacing the Scorpion turrets after they found it was basically killing the crew with toxic fumes. Putting this on to make an Ursat scimitar, so the saber. Bit of history
yeah,
there.
it's just I'm sorry, British players. I swear there are parts of your book that I think are great.
This isn't it.
This is not it. When we eventually go to ranking aircraft and like helicopters and jets, you're
Yeah.
gonna hear me sing the praises of the British book. I promise you. Today is not that day. It's just not that day. So moving on, we have the G Wagon
I love the
from the
name of this.
various Nordic books.
Let's go
Uh,
Norwegian. So
let's look at the Norwegian version, sure. Officially, this is the Feldvogen.
yeah, field wagon basically. Yeah.
Yes. Uh, so it's a point a guy. You get ITOs. So 1848 range, 1821 firepower, 3 guided heat. You do get scout. You get thermal imaging, which is a pretty nice step up because
Mhm.
most of these guys only have infrared. 3 dice of machine guns. So
Yeah, I didn't
you know
appreciate before it had a machine gun still as well as a tow.
yeah. So at infantry thinking that they're gonna pick up some cheeky kills on a 4-up unarmored tank save
Mhm.
actually are gonna find themselves getting hosed down if you're not careful with it.
Yeah. I mean, a big detriment is it's only a 2 strong unit
It is
with a 4
only a
plus
2
courage. It's
strong.
only needs one of them to die, and it's going to die quickly to artillery and the like, and they'll run.
I've made a mistake. I'm gonna be honest here.
Yeah, and put the
I didn't
tow
get
one
a
in
separate
separately.
fiction for the recon version as well because Battlefront just has the one picture. So, although I think we can probably put them similarly. The
Yeah.
unarmored version uh is you know you can get 5 of those the recon variant for 3 points
Mhm.
with 3 7.62 machine guns with 250 cal machine guns, all of it AA. Scout, spearhead, unarmored tank teams. They're cheap. I feel confident that both of these are going to end up in the same version, in the same slot. So we
I
can
mean,
get past that.
Yeah, the probably something the Norwegian wants is there's better options to take for for both provide missile support and take and recon support. In the Danish one, they're a bit more essential, the recon element.
Well, actually, the
Um,
Norwegians, the tow versions occupy their own boxes in the
they
support.
do,
So
yeah, but most of the formations already have a tow unit, and usually has tow two missiles. Um,
yeah, but this is a way of getting around having to pay for your whole army to be tow
was that
two.
Lexi think what Lexi was
Hmm.
pointing out because they don't have the option. Yeah, it's we're in points. I mean, the mobility is fine. They are only a 4+. They're only an armor, which obviously has various issues when it comes to being assaulted or taking hits. Maybe the fish bit. They have a decent amount of shots. They like to say they've got 50 cals and then M240s, and like I say, I'm impressed the tow ones does a machine gun, which is a big boon for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that and
Oh
then
yeah,
we take a look at the Danish version,
I
the
forgot
scout group,
this.
where they have laws.
They could do drive-by law shots,
They
yeah.
can do drive-by law shots,
Which
which
as I predicted, was how they were getting the French with the Eric's missiles. I did say I think this is going to be a sneaky peek at how the French Jeeps are going to work.
so 3 dice of machine guns with a law shot, slow firing, but
Yeah,
free surprise law shots if you can really wedge those scout spearhead things in the back, and really be a threat to things like carnations,
yeah. I think
air defense. I think
I'm
if
earning somewhere between stupid good and stupid bad.
oh I think this I was flitting between stupid good and wheelie good.
All right, so I think we just basically agree on stupid good as being somewhere. So
Stupid
that's good.
good
Yeah.
for the G Wagon and all its variants.
Hmm.
Man, because you can really get up to some nonsense. There's no formations around them. They're all support options. There, in some lists there are better support options, and some lists there aren't. But I think for cheap, pretty well armed guys that you can jam in places you're not supposed to jam them. They do have a 4-up cross. They have a train dash of 12, so they have a faster train dash than their tactical, for
Hmm.
what that's worth across the board. I think sticking them in the middle is perfectly fine. Sticking with our Danish theme though, and we're gonna go look at the Swedes with the. Oh no, I'm sorry. I am looking ahead.
I would say we got
Um,
this Iltis
we're
next,
we're on
isn't it?
Iltis. We're on the Iltis.
Hmm.
So what do you think about?
So
I
sticking
was
with
I was
German wheel vehicles because we've gone from Mercedes to Volkswagen. We've gone for the budget option, which is appropriate for the Canadian military.
yes. So these are only available in
So
the
far. Yeah.
airborne company so
Mhm.
far. Um, Obviously, I expect them to show up later, but they come in two flavors. They come in Recce, they come in anti-tank.
Tank, yeah.
And right now we're taking a look at the Recce version.
Okay, these are split out. Okay, yeah.
Yes, these are split. You get a pair of them for a single point.
Hmm.
3 dice of machine guns, AA, which is nice. 4-up cross, skill 3, courage 4, tactical 10, terrain 12, cross country 20. Like
Yeah.
pretty quick, pretty fast. You can get what is 3 or 4 of them in a formation. You get 3 of them in a formation. They're 2 points. I was sorry, they're a point for 2. So for 3 points, you get a lot of spearhead.
Yep. It just combines two things I really hate, which is soft skin saves and two strong units.
Yes. With a 4-up courage, and 4-up morale, 4-up rally, it's just 4-up across the board. They're gonna run the second they take hits. But the
Hmm.
nice thing is they have scouts, so you just park them in terrain. You just don't do anything with them.
Yeah, it would just be annoying. Yeah.
You just be annoying.
And you add yet more strength to an already quite big formation, so which makes it
Mhm.
even harder to crack. So I mean, again, I'm going somewhere between stupid good and stupid bad because it. I think the fact that it helps this formation out might just nudge it to stupid good.
It is incredibly disposable though,
Hmm.
which I'm gonna go with stupid good, just because they're so cheap and you can get a good chunk of them.
Yeah, and sticking in the same
Uh,
formation, the Iltis toe. Now
Speaking
this
of the
does
Iltis
also
toe.
appear in their Cougar the Grizzly mechanized platoon as an
which is
alternative to the
infantry
M150.
mech company.
Yeah. So you have up to 3 of these, if I recall correctly, in that formation. And you have up to 3 of them in this formation as well.
Right. So you get a pair of Iltis tows for 2 points, standard ITO, same soft stats.
Yeah.
Except no counterattacking and attack stats. So you get melee, you're donezo. But you're donezo if you get into melee anyway, if you get assaulted.
Yeah. It's cheap. All the arguments you just really made for the recce apply here. It's cheap and it bolts out the formation.
But it lacks scout. It lacks hammerhead or anything that would give
That's
it,
true,
like,
just like scout.
It's got thermal imaging, sure, but the thermal imaging doesn't affect things 9 times out of 10. You know, lets you get past a defensive smoke layer, but that's kind of it.
Yeah.
So
probably more the stupid bad than that one then.
I do think that this goes in stupid bad because, you know, especially in one of its formations, it's your only anti-tank, so you have to deal with it. In its other formation, it's the worst of 2 options. So I think stupid bad is the correct.
If it being a unit of 4 of them, that might have tipped it, but just having 2 of them is just. So next up is Israeli option.
Into the older Oil War book.
Yeah. And also, ironically, using older models, because a lot of these are basically the original Favored Nation models with different crew figures. But...
Yes. So we have the Recce Jeep. Which, oh man, I've lost what formation you get this in.
It's setting a tank formation. Go to one of the tank formations.
Is it one? Okay, I was looking in the mech infantry. Yes, so you can get 3 Jeeps for 2 points. It is. Remember what we said about the Iltis? You say the exact same thing about the Jeeps, except the machine guns are forward firing for some reason, which is.
Yeah, but it is like a fearless veteran.
It is a veteran.
A unit of 3, so it's going to be a little bit more sturdy.
You can only ever have 1 though. It's not spammable in the way that the Iltis Recce was.
True, and it is competing with an M113 unit in that respect.
It's competing with an M113, which is just better.
Exactly the same point. Bizarrely, exactly the same points, but you get the M113 is better in every way possible. It's like
every
classic Team Yankee pricing.
It's just I've mentioned this in multiple episodes.
Same points, 3 points,
100-point system.
Yep. So 2 points for free, same as the Jeeps.
Yeah.
But all right, you got slightly less mobility, certainly on roads, but you got better cross, better terrain dash,
and you get a 50 cal machine gun. The 50 cal like slams this,
and at least some armor,
right?
And you can assault.
Yeah. The Jeep just ends up in Haas.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
It's just bad. There's no way around it. There are better options available.
Yeah.
You can't, the Iltis' saving grace was you could get 3 of them and they were a point. So you could just do nonsense.
Yeah.
Here, it does not have that. Moving on to the tow version of the Jeep. A standard ITO. This is exactly the same as the Iltis, except it costs way more points. 2 for 3 and 4 for 6. However, it does have Scout.
It's a Scout, yep.
Which
and
is...
Again, it's a fearless unit, which means if you do lose a couple, they'll have a better chance. I say this knowing every single time my Favored Nation Israeli tow Jeeps lose a couple of Jeeps, they run at the first instance, even with they're fearless air.
Yeah, but the fact that they have Scout, they still have thermal imaging.
Yeah.
Cross 4 up, not that bad. You have a skill of 3. You do a cross here, you dash around. The Scout lets you reposition in a place where you could be a threat. You have enough of them where you can, absorb a hit or 2.
And bigger picture, it's its own box. It's not, you don't have to choose it over anything else. And you really need as much high anti-tank 21 as you can get with these Israelis, because it's literally the highest anti-tank you have in your army is a tow missile.
Yes.
Because your tanks are all armed with 105s. You've got the Cobras, which you're going to take whenever you can, because that gives you a whole bunch extra tow. I'm hoping when we get to obviously roll around to like an All Wars version 2, we'll see a tow 2 missile with the Israelis. But Maybe a Merkava Mark III wheel 120mm, but
Yeah, like
until
when
then,
all
you
your
really
tanks are packing 1819 guns and you're just desperately relying on tow jeeps, uh, Cobras, and whatever good the Skyhawk is going to bring you.
and the
As
Para as well, because it's tanked way one. But generally, that thing's picking off enemy SAM systems and artillery. So
yes, so I think we just slot this one step above the Iltis tows and stupid good.
Yeah.
Because it is dumb. It is just three guys in a Jeep just waiting to die with a tow missile on it. But Scout is the really big difference maker here. I think Scout makes the world of good for that unit.
When it comes to being a soft skin tow vehicle, it's all about that Alpha Strike. And you need to be alive to get to the Alpha Strike, which is what you need a Scout for. You might get lucky and get a second salvo, but don't count on it.
Maybe. It is a bit pricey compared to the others, but there are certainly worse options. Speaking of worse options, Lee, let's take a quick trip to the Anzacs.
This really annoys me because I got a big soft spot for recoilless rifles in Team Yankee, and Land Rover is a British classic. Though this is where Mike Evers will point out what British classic really means is it's unreliable and a complete money sink. But this just combines it and just I can't think of where it fits in this army.
so it's a point per.
It's right. Cheapish.
It's 2 for 2, 4 for 4. It does have Scout. Recoilless is a very bad rule because you do not get the benefits of cover when you shoot.
Correct.
Its tactical is 6. Its tactical is 6.
It's basically like sneak and peek all over again.
Right. It's only AT-17.
Yeah.
It has accurate, which is nice, brutal, heat, and slow firing. So with only a 24-inch range, so I'm not even comfortable using this as like cheap infantry support to dig out stuff.
You don't need it. You got Leopards with brutal to do cheap infantry to do the infantry support.
Right. The Australian Leopard one is uniquely very good at this.
Well, both in the Canadian ones have Hesh rounds of brutal. But also, you then got you got the M113 recce guys with the 2 Scorpion territory vehicles, which again you got the New Zealander Scorpions doing it with firepower 2, not brutal, admittedly, but firepower 2 is still firepower 2.
Yeah, and for other, like it's just unfortunate. It really is.
There's lots of good things, but the Anzacs and the Land Rover anti-tank section is not it.
No.
I mean, there's a reason. Was I'm currently painting a whole bunch of these little guys. Just gonna lean over my shoulder, and a whole bunch of these little guys.
Yeah. We're just gonna go ahead and throw the Land Raider just directly into Haas.
Yes.
Just there's nothing going on with that.
So the only 2 British units are so far.
I'm sorry, Britain. You just don't make good cars, it turns out.
I can't, so you can't, unless you go for the luxury bands, I can't deny that.
Right. Since we're already in the Anzacs, let's go slightly out of order and let's talk about the base LAV.
Yeah.
Now,
LAV cavalry troop, yeah.
Right, the LAV cavalry troop. They're a point per, but they are armored. They have Scout, they have Spearhead.
Yeah.
They have,
and it all holds true for the Canadian Cougar as well.
And
Coty, sorry. And LAV Crew 5.
You got 3 shots moving and stationary, anti-tank 8, firepower 5, anti-helicopter gun. You get 4 dice of machine guns. You have a train dash of 14, a cross-country 20, a cross of 4+, Scout, Spearhead, amphibious thermal imaging. This thing is the Cadillac of wheeled recon vehicles. Not that that means anything anymore. Cadillac is not a good brand, but that saying still has a hold in American parlance. I promise my UK listeners.
That's right. We know what Cadillacs are. We had Cadillacs and dinosaurs too.
This is the first easily of the spam if you don't need friends, because between the Anzac formation, where you can squeeze in an Abrams tank or some Leopard ones.
Yeah, I'm going to put out once again the Anzac LAV LAV formation does everything the American one does, but better.
But better because it's got.
Because you look at one slight exception in that the really good thing about the US Marine Corps one is they got slightly better soft stats in terms of they're not veteran, but they are better courage. But they also have that LAV anti-tank platoon we're going to get onto in a sec,
Yes,
which is
we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah, which is whereas the Anzac one only gets Milan section, which is okay, but doesn't really compare to a tow missile. But it gets a better mortar section. It gets infantry and it gets
significantly
tanks.
better mortar section.
Yeah, and you get infantry and tanks as well. Which if they had that in US Marine Corps one, I'd probably shift my allegiance back to US Marine Corps. But
I mean, I think honestly, if like you could just have an information Marine platoon in the LAV company they have there might shift it back. The big Milan anti-tank section as well is a huge thing.
yeah,
the Australian LAV squadron is just much more complete and much better all around.
Yes, the fact you've got M1A1 platoon sitting there, it's just so that's what I'm basically working on right now. Is this formation is what those things are going to feed into. I had Mike and Lexi beat out of me the M113 is better, and I have now drunk the Kool-Aid, had a refill, drunk another pitcher of Kool-Aid, and I'm now entirely on board on the LAV trial platoon.
Yeah, and man, if you missed last episode, I would highly recommend you at least watch the version, the section where we talk about the Anzac portion of the book, because they are the real stars of that book. Don't let all the French marketing fool you. But speaking of the LAV, we've got the anti-tank version. Now, you can only ever have one of these. It only shows up in the Marine Corps LAV company. It's a one-off. You can have 2 or 4 of them, but you get your choice of tows and tow twos. But this boy has amphibious, it has hammerhead, it has scout, it has thermal imaging. So this thing is hit on 5s no matter what. It is nigh impossible to hit these things. They are gross. They also have defensive machine guns. They're armored. You know, the machine gun is AA for what that's worth.
And you're getting a big platoon of 4. I mean, most of the other anti-tank platoons in the American book are too strong. Like the Humvee one is too strong.
Yes.
The M901 is too strong. This is for a unit of 4, which is a big boon. Also, weirdly, just looking at the points, 6 for 4. Weren't we just saying the Israeli ones were 3 for 6 points?
Yes. This is just so much better.
I know they're trained, but come on, Battlefront.
Comedically better.
Yeah. It's a really, I mean, it's one of the things that US Marine Corps, if you're doing a US force, that LAV formation is just a great little support formation. The LAV itself is a great little recce unit. The 2 strong mortar section is great for putting a smoke screen down, but probably that's about it. But it's cheap. And the LAV anti-tank
can come up to 4s, by the way.
Okay. Maybe it's US. I think it's US Marine Corps ones. If you look in the US Marine Corps, the US Marine Corps.
Oh yeah.
If you look at US Rifle Company, yeah.
Right. If you
look at their tow one.
Yeah, those are only in pairs.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, the airborne ones are better. Yeah.
But still, man, this is still a premium anti-tank vehicle. It's very good. It's quick. It's got, scout and hammerhead. You can give it AT-23 missiles if you have points to burn for
a huge amount of points. I mean, 8 points for 4 would tow 2.
Half a point per guy upgrading is not bad.
Yeah. I mean, you're paying 2 points a vehicle then, so.
Yeah, and you can only ever have one of them. So unfortunately, we can't spam them if you don't want friends. But they're still really
you only have one of them. You can only have one of the formations. You can't even have multiples of the formation to try and generate them. So yeah, it's.
Theoretically, you could have 4 of them if you ran 4 LAV companies.
Oh, I apologize. No, you can have. So you could.
The Australians only ever get the 1 LAV company.
That's what I'm thinking of.
The Marines have plenty, but it's not a company you want to spam. It lacks the critical key of literally anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, if it had a support infantry platoon in, it'd be awesome. But yeah.
So moving on to the West Germans, and we have one thing, because again we're not going over troop transports. We have the Luchs. They're a point per. They've got a 20 mil gun.
Mm-hmm.
They have 3 Dyson machine guns. They're scout, they're spearhead, they're thermal imaging, they're amphibious. They cross on 4s, 2 front, 2 sides. So the most armored of these recon vehicles we've looked at so far. The gun, anti-tank 7, firepower 5 up. There's better guns. It's a 3.2 instead of a
There's better
3.6.
guns, but this is for Germans learning from the Puma. Don't give your
Yes.
recce vehicles big guns because people start thinking they're light tanks. This is Germans going, you have a gun sufficient to take out an enemy BRDM, and that's it.
That's it. Yes.
And it's admittedly, once upon a time when these were 1 point, these have gone straight to spam things because they're just such a I'd always have like 4 of them in backing up my tank formations. At 2 points, I still have at least 1 platoon. They're still you usually get like up to 2 platoons. Yeah, that's 2 troops of them. So it used to be a case when they were 1 point when they were basically a half point each. I'd have all 4. Now at 2 points, I generally have 1. But if I can fit the second one in, it's always worth having 2 spearheads.
Yeah, I think this hits middle of the road at stupid good.
Yeah, it's only going to do one thing, which is really good to do spearhead. That comes down to Battlefront's very limited recce rules at the moment. I really hope that gets fixed in a future edition.
Yeah. So remember when I said that we weren't talking about troop transports? Well, there's a pseudo exception. Because how could we possibly have a list of the best stupid cars in Team Yankee if we did not include the U.S. militia group pickup trucks, the literal 1967 Chevy pickups, as seen in hit Josh Peck movie Red Dawn. But man,
what I enjoyed was a few weeks ago, someone put in a Team Yankee group on Facebook. They put on the original color chart for the Chevy truck, so you can paint your with the correct colors for the factory standard finish. It's
the proprietary paint blends of the General Motor Company. Yes,
I did like that.
It was very good. These things are just dreadful. They're hit on 3s. They save on 5s. You have to spend an extra point you have to spend a point to get them. You have to spend a point to put machine guns on them, which are passenger fired, so they only shoot when they transport. The only reason that we're even breaking the rule is like, look, they're the resistance rule where they can just kind of spring up anywhere. We're going to say that it counts as a recce unit.
Yeah.
Because God knows no one's using your militia groups for anything other than showing up in the back and being obnoxious like a recce unit would.
Yeah. And just go around hitting artillery pieces and stuff, as you should with your RPGs and that kind of thing.
But for 2 points, assuming that we armed them, so we have some stats to talk about.
I think you got to arm them. Why are you not arming them?
Yeah. No scout. So they are very vulnerable, especially with being hit on 3s and saving on 5s. The cross of 4, its movement stats pretty good. Skill of 5+, you're not doing anything clever with these boys. You're just making them appear in the back line with some machine guns and going, if any infantry come towards us, we're going to machine gun them to death, and that's it. And if the guys get out, well, then they just go to the back because they're an unarmored transport attachment. So
they're pretty terrible.
Between stupid bad and Haas F1, it really is.
I mean, Haas is an American team, so I feel like
Haas is an American team. That's where they go. They're just dreadful, but they are stupid cars.
I mean, we're almost stupid bad. Just kind of, they do. But it's an awesome model. I've been meaning to pick up a few for a while, just to almost just paint and have as just like scatter terrain. But it's
you know what? As scatter terrain, I bet they do a wonderful job. Moving back to Nordic forces, and we take a look at the Swedes. The Swedes. You're right, Swedes. Oh God.
Classic American.
Please no. I can read a map, I promise. I have multiple concussions. Have mercy.
That's where Saab comes from, Swaziland.
No.
Literally seen that in the
They make
conversation.
fighter jets. I've heard this before.
Anyway, sorry. Yes.
So we're looking at the PUBG RBS 55 and 56. I'm sorry. There are no vowels in this word. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. There are no vowels in this word. I went to public school, please.
I mean, it's Swedish. It's all Scandinavian languages, but maybe Germanic root. But I don't know how they work. It's not like Dutch where I can at least pretend I know what's being said.
Right. You get the choice between the ITO and the bill.
Mm-hmm.
They're the exact same points.
Yeah.
The bill has a slightly shorter max range with only 40 compared to the ITO's 48, but you get AT 22 compared to 21. So that's just a preference point. If you think the extra AT is worth the slight decrease in range. They're both firepower 3. They cross on 4s, terrain 12, cross country 20. They have scout. Having scout is important, which means and a skill of 3 up.
Yeah.
So theoretically, you could ambush, you could fire, and you could shoot and scoot back into terrain.
Let's just take a moment here. So again, we have 3 of these with scout, with tow, but so not fearless compared to Israelis, but still 4 points versus 6 points.
Yes.
Once again, you're paying a 2-point premium for being fearless. Apparently, with them.
It's a lot for especially in an anti-tank platoon.
Yeah.
But
like I said, I mean, with the Swedish one, you can get those as force support. You can get them in formation with the infantry. You do have the only real problem you have is you're competing against an armored box for more or less the same points. If we just look at the one.
3 for
3
3.
points for
so
free.
The same points, slightly fewer, but the armored box gets a machine gun.
Yeah.
Does not have scout though.
Ooh, okay, that makes it a bit more contentious.
Doesn't have hammerhead, so truly more disposable.
Did I was that hammerhead? Did I miss that?
The BV does not have hammerhead.
The wheel vehicle, sorry.
No, the wheel vehicle does not.
Okay,
but
sorry.
I would expect an armored box to have hammerhead.
Well, yeah, but it's like the M150. It's just literally a tow missile shoved in the top.
Yeah.
Sorry, only reason I question that because I've seen a picture of this one here, the actual Jeep, and that tow missile is on like a post. It does actually go up and down. So there's almost an argument it should have had hammerhead, but apart from the fact, I guess, because the guy goes up with it, Battlefront goes, it doesn't quite count that way.
Fair. But the point I wasn't saying that didn't have hammerhead was that it has no like defensive keywords to it. No. It has no defensive abilities. It's just yes, this is a box. I have a front armor of 3, which whatever you're trying to ambush or get with these guys, definitely going to be able to kill front armor 3 with nary a thought.
Unless you'll try to ambush a BRDM for some reason, but yes.
Sure.
I hadn't noticed that, and that does make it a bit more, like say, a bit more of an interesting choice at that point. Because, I mean, sure, its mobility over terrain is better than the wheel vehicle, but not by much.
Not by much. Only 2 inches in terrain dash. I mean, obviously, cross 3 up compared to cross 4 up. Same skill, so you can still try and you probably will more successfully ambush and then shoot and scoot back into terrain, but I don't know. And the fact that you can only have 3, but you could have 4
it's free the Jeeps as well.
Oh, it is 3. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you're right.
But I think the fact that Scout makes it a more compelling choice all of a sudden, because the best armor you can have is not being hit.
Right, and so making people roll 5 ups is pretty good. I think we put this in stupid good.
I think so. I think we'll say with this, when you compare it to the Israeli Jeep, which it is a pretty equivalent to, but 2 points cheaper, I'd say you have to be at least on par with that. And then you got the Recoiless Jeep as well. Sorry, or the Swedes.
Oh, they do. Hold on, did I miss something?
I think you might have done. That's okay.
I might have missed something.
I think, like I say, if you go down, I think there is one in the actual support, in the force support.
In the force support.
I thought there was.
I'm not seeing it.
All right, maybe not. Oh no, it's the Yeah, okay, no, it's not. If you go to the actual Armoured Rifle Company, then I thought it was in Full Sports.
Oh, it's the Armored Rifle Company.
Yeah.
I missed that. Oh,
Has its own little box, which always makes it compelling. 4 of them for 4 points. So basically, this is the same as the Land Rover, basically.
it's recoilless. It's bad. It moves slightly faster.
Yep.
But I would never put a recoilless gun anything higher than Haas F1. I'm sorry, Swede fans. Recoilless in Team Yankee is bad. It's very bad. It's an anti-keyword. It's like sneak and peek. You're like, ooh, what wonderful power is the sneak and peek unlock? Oh, it screws me over.
But sneak and peek at this won't get you killed. Whereas recoilless will definitely.
Recoil puts up the big neon sign with an arrow, says "Murder here, please. I have chosen death."
Sneak and peek is an inconvenience. Recoilless is a liability. Right, that's next.
So next we go back to the Americans, and we're going to take a look at Humvees.
Ah, yes, lovable Humvee.
So, look, I understand that there's 75 different versions of the Humvees. There's a fire support. There's tow versions. There's machine guns with grenade launchers. There's an actual scout section.
But it's the world's worst least cost-effective unit with the actual transport one. We have to have one per standard infantry. We have to have like 10 Humvees. My friend Nathan loves this, but every time he looks at it, he then works out how much it cost him. And yeah. So it's like there's a couple of flavors of like the scout section. You got the scout section,
and then you have the light
fire
attack
support
platoon.
Yes, yeah.
Because the fire support is the tow Humvees, which is a separate thing. But like, my opinions on the scout section and the light attack platoon are virtually the same. One has better keywords, one has better guns. They kind of just balance out.
Yeah.
The scout section actually pretty good because you can get 1 or 2 tows in there.
Yep.
In addition to your Mark 19 grenade launcher and your 50 cal. Scout, spearhead, thermal imaging. The light attack platoon only has scout. It does not have spearhead.
It doesn't have tow vehicles. It only has like lots of machine gun firepower. Great versus Duncan's Passage. Pretty.
Anybody else? Not great.
Yeah, so like tank company, you get a bunch of those and a bunch of the fire support platoons with the tow missiles.
Right, but as far as the like scout sections, you only get them, I think, you can get a metric ton of them in the Humvee Cavalry Troop.
Yep.
And you can get one of them in the Light Attack Company, and I think maybe in the Combined Arms. Let me double check those lists really quick. Yes, they are the scout options.
It's a nice motor version of it, yeah. So the Humvee Cavalry Troop's always been quite a popular. It's a very cheap formation, 19 points, and you get about 12 tow missiles shots out of it, if I remember rightly.
Right.
So it's a spam if you don't need friends straight away.
It's absolutely spam if you don't need friends.
Yeah,
the lackluster sub variant does not drag it down. The light attack platoon is not enough to drag it down to, really good, because even the light attack platoon is still pretty decent. It is supposed to be your like mainline thing. Yeah,
it's an interesting formation. I mean, you got the little RDF tanks, you got the tow units, you got the infantry. There's still a scout section here which has no extra 2 tow missiles in. So you've got 8 tow missiles between the 2 fire support platoons. You've got, and by the way, that being a black box unit means any unit can get a unit of 4 tow missiles, which is quite handy. Very few people really notice it. So you got, as a formation, it's got lots of tow missiles, just not quite as much as a cavalry one. But it does have the RDFs, and the RDFs are quite tasty.
Yeah, people like their GI Joe tanks. It has Hammerhead. It's got an AT of 19 with a firepower of 3 up and 2 on rate of fire. Like, the GI Joe tank is surprisingly pretty solid for this, because it's more than enough to scare the hell out of BMPs and the kind of things that would prey on Humvees normally.
I always want to buy the RDFs and paint them up as maulers. Yes. It appeals to me from a child's perspective.
This is the secret joy of the show, viewers, is me giving Lee bad ideas.
I know, you're a bad influence on me.
I am a terrible influence on you.
I never once said I never do Australians at all, and now here I am picking an Australian army at the time. So it just shows you how much of a bad influence you are.
Yeah, I think Fez called you out because you're like, why are the Anzacs in the NATO book? This makes no sense. They weren't even in NATO. They were in CETO. We had to make, for those who don't know, Australia is not in NATO because that's the North Atlantic. The US had to create its own mini version of NATO called CETO to include Australia and New Zealand, and so they felt included.
Yeah. When New Zealand got kicked to the curb, they got a bit arsy about nuclear weapons being in their ports. So
I mean, I wouldn't let America park nukes in my ports either. So hey,
it's a fair cop. But yeah, so I'm certainly a missile. I think the fire support one, sorry, the light attack platoon, the scout platoons are still stupid good at worst, I think. If you look at the bigger picture of their formations and that kind of thing.
The light attack is still really good.
Yeah, okay, I'll get really good. Like I say, it's a strong formation.
The scout is just unbelievably amazing. There's no stopping it. Spam if you don't need friends. That is the final word on a Humvee in recce type formations.
Yeah, so just get back to your graph. You have got both Humvees on the graph by looks of it. There's the second one. Yeah.
Yes.
So that one needs to go really good then. Yeah.
Right. The tow Humvees 2-4. They're a point apiece. An extra.
Oh, so that's a tow Humvee. Sorry. Yeah.
Right. Sorry. So the tow Humvees, the fire support one specifically, they have scout. It's a point per if you have if you're running ITOs. If you're going tow 2s, then it's an extra point on the size, so an extra half point per guy.
Those are skill 3+. So they're better than normal, so they can blitz and stuff.
They're
good.
They're solid. Are they stupid good or are they wheelie good?
I think really good. The fact they're veteran, really, they're only a point more than all the tow jeeps below them, but have armor 0, which makes a big difference versus artillery.
If you're running tow 1, then they're consistent because for the tow 1s they're 2 and 4.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is for only one more point, I can give them tow 2, and they're now standing.
Yes. Then they get so really good on that front. Now we make our way back to the French and all their fun new stuff.
Yes.
So first things up is we have
everything else is French now. Yes, or French in foreign service. It's still French.
it is in fact still French. So we have the VAB T20, the new thing that you can get in your
the VAB company. Yep.
VAB.
So Mike was getting passes over to pointing out to him it's not just an upgrade, it's also a unit in its own right.
It is its own thing in its own right. So
it's a very weird little unit, but it is a unit.
Very weird. So 4 for 3, 3 for 2. Courage 3, morale 5, rebound 4, skill
standard
3,
French stats. Yep.
Standard French stats.
Mobility
10, train dash 12, cross country 18, a little slower than usual. Cross 5 up. Ugh. 20 mil with range of 20 inches, 3-2 rate of fire, anti-tank 6, firepower 5 up, anti-helicopter. The most anemic 20 mil we've seen so far.
Yeah, compared to some others, I think the German 20 was 7, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So this is a little bit less powerful. I mean, the big thing going for this is the anti-helicopter. Gives a little bit of a bolster to the anti-aircraft capability of the actual platoon.
Right. It's a dirt cheap extra box you can put in there.
But it's a formation that's not really short of our boxes. It's you have to want to have it, basically.
Yeah.
I think you can skip over this in the formation. As long as you're filling out all the other boxes, which you probably are. As we discussed with Valkyrie, it's not something you'd put in your platoon because you want that platoon to be gone to ground because, like you say, it's only got a 5+ save, or sorry, was it 4+ save? But it's not a box, okay. But either way, you probably won't be giving away a position by lighting up the 20mm every so often.
Yeah, and if you are, really concerned about the extra anti-helicopter, you can just spend a point and replace 2 of your infantry VABs with T20s, because then they become transport in addition
Mhm.
It's just
Is it has bad or is it just really bad?
it's hard to tell.
It is armored. Its
It is
mobility
armored.
is okay apart from its cross.
Its cross is dreadful, and I think
Yeah.
its cross country is lower than most. I think most things cross country 20.
Yeah, but its terrain dash is 12, which is consistent, but cross country 18 is probably slower. And its road
Yeah.
dash is not
It
spectacular for a wheeled vehicle.
brings a little bit of anti-helicopter.
I think probably just nudged it into stupid bad.
I think
bad
that still
run
nudges
has.
into stupid
Yeah.
bad because it is less than a point per, and anti-helicopter is still nice to have.
Yeah.
All right. Looking at a very similar thing, we're going to look at the VAB Mephisto.
Yeah. This is back on the actual force, go to return to force.
Yep. This is the
By the way, the return to
force
force
support option.
button in forces is a lie. Sometimes we're returning to force, sometimes we just go to formation. Who knows?
But yeah,
I love these things.
The VAB Mephisto, amphibious, hammerhead. Hammerhead is big. You know, you get your choice of hot or hot 2. The most useless point upgrade in the game, jumping from hot to hot 2, because 23 is already perfectly good. You don't need 24.
Yeah, unless your opponent was rabing T80s
Not
every
at the
single
points
game.
that they're not at a point per. They're not. Sorry. So for the regular hots, it's 4 for 2 and 8 for 4. For the hot 2s, it's 5 for 2 and 10 for 4. I'm not spending an extra 2 points. It's too much. The extra half point is just. This is unbelievably expensive comparatively to a lot of other systems we've seen here.
Yeah, I mean, you're paying. I mean, its nearest equivalent is going to be
LAV
Hammerhead with tow too, isn't it? And that was
Yeah.
what we said it was.
Oh, not nearly as expensive. I'm
No.
double checking it right
Admittedly,
now.
you're only trained rather than veteran, that thing, but 8 points.
Eight points for 4 tow twos.
Yeah.
So
you're paying 2 points more for having better armor and better skill
and a worse cross check
and no thermal.
Losing scout.
But if you have hammerhead, you don't really need scout.
True, but the VAB has infrared. The LAV has thermal.
That is a big point.
The VAB does not have, the Mephisto does not have machine guns.
Nope. Again, I didn't appreciate that their LAV had machine guns. But right, so but even in the context of the French list, you get 2 platoons of these, and they're a pretty stellar anti-tank unit. You definitely, if you're playing French, you're going to have at least 1 unit of VABs. I agree. There's no point taking that tow to the hot 2 upgrade.
Yes.
I think on the basis it hasn't got thermal and it's poor cross, I think it's stupid good rather than really good.
Yes. If this had a cross 4, it would go up to wheelie good. It would.
Yeah.
Because you get multiple of them. They're 4 support, so you can always have them. The missile is the hot 1 is a really good missile. They never needed to make the hot 2 for whatever reason, at least in this game. But it's just that 5 up, because you can't take advantage of that stellar veteran skill. Like I'd rather gamble on a pair of 50/50s than a 3 up followed by a 5 up.
Fair.
So that goes to stupid good. Now we get to move to the fun thing, the VBL.
Yeah.
My beautiful boy.
The French have 3 flavors of this. One that's in the MX with a 3 strong platoon, and one that's in its own formation with 2 strong platoons, but also a Milan platoon. They're all kind of cool in different ways.
So talking about the recon, you've got their train dash a little less than stellar. It is a tennis train dash, but they cross on 4s. You've got machine guns. You have Appalachian missiles, which just, man, the Appalachian is so good. You can get them with Milans or Milan 2s. Now Milan 2 is a worthwhile point upgrade.
Yeah, 21, 24. Again, if your opponent's
a single point to get 3 of them up to Milan 2 is just chef's kiss.
Yeah.
If we look at the AMX versions, they are
only real difference is you get 3 of them for 1 point each. Now I like these in the MX one because you can take one of these units with 3, give them the Eric's missile, put them as the ambush unit, brilliant. But they give that formation that spearhead. The AMX lost it because these things are meant to be a thing that does the spearhead, and the AMXs support them.
Right, scout and spearhead, chef's kiss, so good.
All the soft stats are the same for both versions. It's just whether you get 3 of them or 2 of them. And obviously, the one we get 2 of them, you get lots of them in their formation.
You get so many of them.
Yeah. And unlike a lot of things where we say don't upgrade to Eric's, this one has compelling cases for upgrading to Eric's because obviously you can never be pinned.
At least on a single platoon. Just to account for, well, if I get an ambush. In the actual VBL one, maybe you want the Milan one. Or actually, you probably want to keep the Milans way back because the Milan has a 36-inch range. Massive 36-inch range. So you want to hang back. So maybe you upgrade, one of the pairs to have the Eric so you can ambush and really hurt people because the Eric's does have tandem warhead. So you are going to shred T-80s with it.
I mean, if you only take 24, you're really going to shred whether they would have got tandem warhead or not. It's one of those it's one of those weird things. I think I've gone to this in the podcast before, but I don't like how Team Yankee does stuff like ERA and tandem warhead. It should, to my mind, ERA should give your tank additional save, like the old Schertzen save in World War II game. And then tandem warhead should negate that special save. And that way it matters that you've got the high tank afterwards for defeating sidearm and stuff like that. But hey, the way it works right now, a lot of the times tandem warhead just basically makes no real difference to the performance.
Yes. So I think it goes without saying, spam if you don't need friends.
Yeah. I mean,
it is an incredible piece of kit. You can get a lot of them for dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. You can only get a single full-on VBL squadron.
But it pairs up with so many different other formations. So you can pair it up with the AMX. You can pair it up with
you can run 3 of those AMX 10 things. And as we determined at the very beginning, the AMX 10 is really good.
You just can't spam that formation, but you can. You might say you spam the hell out of these things, and you pair it up with the AMX formation. It has more of these things in, and that's why that is spam rather than the AMX is only really good.
Yes, absolutely. And then the very last thing on our list, going back to Oil Wars, staying with French equipment though.
Yep.
So we go to the Iraqis. We can see the VCR-TH hot anti-tank platoon. They're a point per. They are Hammerhead, which is incredibly important, and Scout, which is incredibly important because this is a natively hit on 3 platoon.
Yeah.
You get the hot missile. You get 3 dice of machine guns. You have a front armor of 2, which isn't nothing. The skill 5-up is extremely disappointing. It is the Iraqis. What are you gonna do?
But it's cross 4+.
12. It's crosses 4-up though, so
it's better than Mephisto in that regard. But the only way it is better than Mephisto.
It's the only way it's better than the Mephisto.
Its name is not as cool for a start, but and it also looks awful. I mean, not the fault of the sculptor. Unfortunately, the Panhard APC, because this thing is based on a Panhard APC, and it is an ugly looking thing. They just literally whack the Mephisto on top of it. But
for a thing that is for support, a point apiece, this is an excellent disposable ambush unit. Its direct comparator is the Spandrel, which,
and it's better than Spandrel in every way.
It's better than the Spandrel in every way except points cost.
Yes, it's twice the cost. Yeah.
If we're talking about 3 Spandrels versus 2 hot missiles, if I'm ambushing, I might be tempted by the extra Spandrel shot, but
again, here's one of the things that annoys me about Team Yankee, how it works. Same army.
Hammerhead is so good.
Same army, it's all Rockies. So, but the hot one can scout. The Spandrel can't. You tell me they didn't share tactics and the employment, how they work, this kind of thing. It feels like, if you're going to make the hot one scout, then the Spandrel should have been scouts as well. I mean,
I agree.
You can say why the Soviets don't do it that way, but clearly the French just have better. The French obviously have better instructors, and the Iraqis didn't standardize that training.
Yeah, but like Hammerhead is such a big thing for this because it's hit on 3s.
Yeah.
Um,
You have to have both. This is one of the times you do want both rules because you need that scout
yes.
to keep you alive till you get in position. I mean, a hammerhead to keep you alive. Once you're in position, you're trying to spam out as many missiles.
Like even if you're
Um,
ambushing,
Only thing I'll say
like
against this is Anti-Tank 23 is pretty much overkill against anything the Iranians are going to field against you, except maybe the Chieftain. But even the Chieftain for Armor 18 is still killable with Spandrel missiles.
yes. So, but looking outside the context of playing pure oil wars, it's still a very strong unit.
Mhm.
Uh, it's got the right kind of keywords.
Mhm.
You can unfortunately only ever have one because it is force support. I don't think it comes in any of the Iraqi formations. Let me double check that really quick.
I don't believe so. The only thing I can think it might come in is to look at the
I'm checking the BTR.
BTR. Yeah,
No, BTR gets the Spandrel.
yeah, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure because obviously the BTR can't grade to be AMX as well. They had that in there as well. So you're only gonna get one platoon that's only gonna be in
Yeah.
for support. I mean,
I'm feeling stupid good.
I think it's really good because it's basically on par with its French equivalent. Obviously it has scout, but it has hit on 3+.
Yes.
Whereas so that sort of negates that. It has better cross, but doesn't have better skill. So it kind of puts in this par with the French one. Kind of weird how the French don't get scout, but the Iraqis do. It's like I can understand the difference in cross because it's 6 wheels versus 4, or at least 4+2 versus 4.
Right. So
But
I
yeah.
think, that is a fairly comprehensive look at stupid cars in Team Yankee. I will say is looking at the spam if you don't need friends. If we want to give the official time of day stupid car of Team Yankee award out,
Mhm.
um, looking at our top three, I feel like the Lav is disqualified because it has too many wheels. It's not quite a stupid car. It's a quality wheeled vehicle. But looking between the VBLs and the Humvees, Lee, what are you feeling as our winner, our
I
true
just
winner,
thought
our
I'm just thinking in my
stupidest
head.
car?
I think we've created one of the worst possible lists ever. Imagine going to a tournament with an American force that has a LAV formation and a Humvee carry formation, and then an Allied VBL formation.
Oh, look. There, viewers, please.
So
This
someone
is
take
this
this
is this is
historical. I
a
want to see how this.
proper academic look, which is why the tier is labeled spam if you don't need friends. Please, please, please. Do not. I'm getting close to the camera. Please don't actually spam these units. Be good to your friends. Have fun games.
Mhm.
You don't need to crush everyone under the weight of 70 billion Toad 2 Humvees. You don't need it. No one's going to want to keep playing with you. So please, please, please save it for the US Masters where we just throw all our toxic players. Please. Just
Exactly. Someone take
I'm
this to
kidding.
Masters and tell us
I'm
how it goes.
kidding.
I want to see
I'm
how.
sorry, Kevin and Igor. That is a joke. For legal reasons, that is a joke. Please don't be mad at me.
Or just beat him up on the tabletop. That seems to work.
They already beat me up on the tabletop.
We'll beat him harder. Beat him till he cries. So which one's the best one? I kind of lean towards the Humvee on the basis it's got armor. I mean the Lav's got that. The VBL's got armor as well. It's armor 0 as well, isn't it?
Yeah, they're both armor 0 all the way around.
They both got missiles. It's a really tough call.
It is a very tough call.
Maybe I'm going to lean towards the VBL on the basis. No, I'm going to stick with the Humvee. The Humvee's got units of 4. Sure, only 2 of them can fire missiles, but the VBL's only got 2 can fire missiles any formation because they formation of 2. So yeah,
Yes.
I think the Humvee wins out just, but the
I
VBL
think
looks cool and it's
I
cheaper.
think your options of 3-4 expanding for similar points, the
Mhm.
number of toes, like yeah, you can't fire on the move. Like yes, the Appalachian is a point in the favor, but like the French stats are also a knock on it. You get slightly better terrain dash and cross country dash with the Humvee. The front armor one does not mean anything really unless you're being shot at by actual infantry rifles. I do think that the Humvee is the recon the specifically the 9th Motor Scouts are the winners of the official time of day stupid top tier car list. The VBL will always be the winner in my heart because it looks way better. But if you really don't want friends, you can spam an ungodly amount of Humvees and win games.
I'm going to work out how, if it's feasible, have but all three of those formations in one force and take. I'm going to do the maths. I'm going to put it here. Well, I did it to the editing. I'm going to put it here if I can make it work.
Lee, don't unleash this evil on the world.
But I've already managed to justify why you might take British Recce with two double M10Cs and on a historical basis. I'm going all in now on the evilness, just justify the evilness. Right, but so we answered this. What's the best? The other flip side is what's the worst?
Oh, what's the worst?
I think we should ignore pickups. The pickups we put in for a bit of a laugh.
The pickups are there purely for the memes.
Yeah.
But we're looking at the Fox, the Recce Jeeps, and the Land Rover or the Land Ranger tows.
I mean,
the Recoiless, excuse me.
I mean, if the Recoiless Land Rover can at least kill things.
Can it, or does it die horribly?
Well, it gets down for strikeout. Just don't.
You're right. You
can kill T55s and stuff like that. You know, other things from the 1950s. Unfortunately, it's the 1980s game. I want to say a Fox, just because I hate the Fox in real life because it is just a death trap. But
the Fox is a death trap. But hold on a second, I'm looking at the stats side by side really quick.
Okay. Both Scouts
have the same garbage.
Similar points.
The Fox brings Spearhead.
Well, that's because it's Recce
per body. Yeah.
It's a bit body because it's got worse soft stats for a start. Same ability.
Oh yeah, the soft stats are dreadful.
The Bizarrely is the same as well, which is I was expecting.
The Land Rover has better soft stats.
Sorry, I mean mobility. Obviously, the Fox is armored, which is a big thing over a 4+ save. So maybe these two are equivalent, and maybe it's Israeli Jeeps at worst because Israeli Jeeps have got nothing going for them.
The Israeli Jeeps had nothing going for them because, like, look, I could theoretically see the argument for a Fox, which is it is a cheap big spearhead bubble, right? Because you get 4 of them for 3 points, which compared to the other British Recce options,
there's 1 point. You say a point, and that point can be handy in some places.
That point.
It gives you an OP or it gets a Jimpy into the bloody infantry formation.
Right. So purely on it being your cheapest spearheads option, I'm going to say it's not the Fox. Now, if we want to talk about the Land Rover versus the Israeli Recon Jeep, oh boy, that is rough. That is real rough.
Point wise, they're the same. You got three Jeeps versus 4. So points were the same, but the unit size is different because obviously it's 4. You get 3 Recce Jeeps for 2 points. Oh, no, it's 2 for 2. And then right, so you get slightly more Jeeps than you get things. But obviously, the only thing the Jeep can do is do spearhead.
And then it just perishes. But the critical flaw is you'll never take the Recce Jeeps because for the exact same points you get Recce 113s with more machine guns that aren't forward firing. I think the forward firing and the fact that like you can only ever have one, it only comes in the tank formations. Like the Land Rover is like you can sprinkle that in if the whim takes you. I think we put Israeli Jeeps as the not meme worst stupid car in Team Yankee.
There you are.
There you are, folks. The comprehensive best and worst of stupid cars in Team Yankee. If you like us looking at like wackier tier lists like this, or you have any good ideas, I know aircraft will be a future episode. I don't want to just spam out tier lists one after the other, though.
We'll get Duncan on for the aircraft list. It seems unfair to
get Duncan Night Witch Gosling himself on for the aircraft episode. And we might just throw in. Should we throw in the Flames of War ones with the Team Yankee stuff? Because there's only like 1 or 2 per country.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much, but it's got a lot of them repeat as well. There's only so many times you can do Stuka, right? So,
Right. Yes. There's 2 kinds of Stuka. They appear in both versions of the war. But
just
yeah,
there you go.
thank you, Lee.
That's right. I think that was we wanted to do a quick episode because I think that fit that bill. I think we had a good discussion about these things and where they fit in.
Definitely wanted to do something a little more lighthearted and fun after 3 hours of serious force and quality talk with Lexi.
We've got to mix it up for the punters. Not everyone wants to hear competitive analysis. Some people just want to talk rubbish about Team Yankee stuff and Flames of War stuff. And here we are. This is that Premium Grey rubbish you come to us for.
That it is.
It's like it's awful, but sometimes you just crave just one McDonald's. I know it's probably all the sugar addiction kicking in or something, but it's
why is there so much sugar in the buns? Oh God.
Well, I know this is my thing about going to America. Is like you guys seem to treat bread as cake and put lots of sugar into it.
You got me there. I got nothing to say.
And butter. I think the sugar in the butter. What the hell's going on here? Well, I got a sugar high just having literally what should normally be buttered toast.
Let me tell you about a thing that I learned about in the Army when I was stationed in the American South. It's a thing called fairy bread. You take an untoasted slice of bread, you put butter on it, and you pour sugar on top, and that is a dessert.
That's also that's a thing in if you growing up poor in the UK, it was apparently that's a thing. My dad used to have that for like dessert when he was a kid.
Right. Well, we are hitting my heart out. So
okay. Well, thanks everyone for coming to us. As always, Mike, did I hit
like, share, subscribe, please. I desperately need the validation of strangers on the internet. I need to destroy eyes and ears, especially as Lee is abandoning me. Comment, share with your friends, and please, please, please watch every episode of Time of Day. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks very much. Is the French book, the French list. It tells me, do you want me to translate this for you? It's like, no, I'm good.
What? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't do that to me.
Because all their free and division blindie and peloton de cavalry and that kind of thing, it just sees that and assumes it's French.
It never asks me if I want to.
Well, because you speak in in the freedom language. Therefore, why do you have any other language on there apart from Spanish, right?
When do we get Mexico and Spain and Team Yankee?
Oh, you got Cuba. It's pretty much the same, right? According to Marco, it's all South America.